The first season of the NHL had some strange moments. Teams folding, owners of the league, previous NHLer being forced out, disbanding of one league, the controversy about the availability of Joe Malone, who had a great year with Montreal. But the biggest controversy that year was over 300 pennies. And the guy involved, he had such a hard scrabble career. I'm going to go over that first before the incident with a fine where he tried to pay it off with cash and coin. Now, Ken Randall, what a tough nut. Native of Kingston, 5'10", 180 pounds, played right wing and defense. He played for 20 seasons as a pro, including 10 campaigns in the NHL from 17 to 27 for the Toronto Arenas, Toronto St. Pat's, Hamilton Tigers, New York Americans. He was a two-time Stanley Cup champion. He had a long and varied playing career at the time when the pro hockey world was changing. He was an accomplished scorer when playing forward and was a good defenseman, which he became exclusively later in his career. He turned pro in the Ontario Professional Hockey League and played in the Maritime Professional Hockey League, the Eastern Ontario Professional Hockey League, and the Saskatchewan Professional Hockey League before joining the Toronto Blue Shirts of the NHA in 1915. He played for the organization until 23 as a change from the Blue Shirts to Arenas and St. Patrick's, winning 2 cups in 18, where Toronto had no name until later on, and 22. In 23, he joined the Tigers, which in 24 became embroiled in a labor conflict, and his contract was sold to the New York Americans, for which he played 2 years before becoming a player coach with the Province's Reds. He became a full-time coach at 28, but still had some playing time left, and him playing for the Oshawa Patricias when the OPHL was revived in 1930. Again, Brantford Indians, Port Hop Professionals, Saskatoon Whoos, Saskatoon Real Estate, Toronto Blue Shirts, Sydney Millionaires, Montreal Wanderers, Toronto Arenas, Toronto St. Patrick's, Hamilton Tigers, New York Americans, Niagara Falls Hamilton, Can Pro HL, Province Reds, and the Ottawa Patricias from 1909 to 1931. Now, for a lot of people, his best campaign, of course, was with Sydney, where he had some 3 straight great campaigns from 13 to 15, scoring 56 counters in 44 games. Now, he did quite well in the Toronto format, scoring more than 10 goals 3 times, and again, winning a Stanley Cup in 1918 and 1922. Now, final NHA totals, 18 goals, 9 assists for 27 points in 45 games, in 218 NHL games, 68, 50, 118, and 2 goals in the postseason. Of course, with Hamilton, 24, 6 and 8 in 14 games. Now, getting to the story of the 300 pennies, unless this really happened, it really couldn't believe. Now, in February, Randall was suspended in 1918, pending payment of $35 in fines to the league. To pay off his fine, he brought 32 in paper money and 300 pennies. The pennies were refused. He tossed a bag of pennies onto the ice prior to the game against Ottawa, where his 35 would have made him play, but one of the Ottawa players banged it with his stick, scattering the pennies around the ice. The game was delayed while the pennies were picked up. There was no indication if the referees or the players saved the change. But Randall, at the time, he was a tough friggin' nut, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, why would anybody refuse 300 pennies? I mean, 300 pennies now is worth like, $15 and $20 in modern money. But what was strange here, ladies and gentlemen? You look who he played for. All the major leagues, and he played again with the Lindsay Midgets of the OHA Junior League and the Brantford Indians as well. So again, Lindsay Midgets, Brantford Indians, Port Hope Pros, Montreal Wanderers, Saskatoon Whoos, Saskatoon Real Estates, Toronto Blue Shirts, Sydney Millionaires, Toronto Blue Shirts again, Montreal Wanderers, Toronto Arenas, Toronto St. Pat's, Hamilton Tigers, New York Americans, Niagara Falls Cataracts, Hamilton Tigers, Province Reds, and Ottawa Patricias. A tremendous player for sure. But every time I hear the story of the 300 pennies, we hear Katsanku or, but anyway, Randall, very, very tough player. And he's got to be in a Hall of Fame besides, regional ones. Now, a lot of people thought he was going to eventually get in the Hockey Hall of Fame because of his two-way play. But he alienated so many executives in his time in the different leagues for his straightforward play. It'd be tough to get him in. So that's the story of Mr. 300 Pennies, Ken Randall. If you like what you're doing here on our Vintage Podcast, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.